been quite a spring for me this year. I did a whole lot more work and spent a whole lot more money than I was intending to. But I'm kind of thinking things are getting towards the end, and they bloody well better be, because I got my very first ever drag and drive event coming up this weekend, and it's Monday. And I've still got a cooling problem going down the highway. This thing wants to run at about 210 with the radiator that I just installed in it. So there's obviously something not too pretty good about that. I decided that I was able to beg, borrow, steal, wrangle, and trade with a friend for something I didn't really want to give up. And he happened to have a brand new cold case 26-inch radiator and electric fans that he bought, didn't like the look of, decided he wasn't going to use just because it didn't fit with the rest of his car. Anyway, we were able to make a deal. The only thing is I kind of got the bone on it because he got something that he really wanted that I didn't want to get rid of, and I got something that I really wanted and he did want to get rid of. So whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to have a radiator that ideally is going to do my job. And it was all brand new parts, so let's have a look. Let's open it up. Let's see what we got, and let's look at trying to get this thing installed. I got into a bit of a rush this morning. Started tearing everything apart. I just got to yank this old original radiator out of there. Unfortunately, I just put that thing in a couple weeks ago. It's never been worth a dang, but honestly, I picked it up in a pile of unknown used parts with another car that I bought, so am I surprised that it's no damn good and it's half clogged? Nah, not really. And here's my new to me cold case 26-inch. It's said to bolt in directly. It looks like from the mounts here and here, it looks like they're done correctly. I'm told by a couple people that that when you put them in there, they're close, but they're not quite perfect on the mounting, but everything else is really good. Looks like, just by the look of the welds and whatnot, looks like a really, really nice piece. And I'm super excited because ever since I wrecked my big old 3-core factory record radiator that cost me way too much, I've been having trouble with heating, and I'm pretty sure this is going to solve my problems. Beauty thing is, these right here, these fans, they're supposed to pull 3600 CFM, and they pull that 3600 CFM whether you're idling at a light or whether you're flying down the highway or what you're doing. So that's going to be a huge piece to the puzzle. Now, I've already got the wiring done, but I'll just give you a quick blurb on that. Just like with everything else I do, everything I do is friggin' temporary. So I just dropped a couple of relays right here. One relay for each fan. Cold Case actually said you can do it with a single relay. But anyway, I had these. These are actually timing relays. And what's going to happen is one fan is going to start a few seconds after the other one. And the other fan is going to shut off a few seconds after the car shuts off. Just, I don't know, because I thought it would be cool. And, them not starting at the same time is going to be a good thing. It's not going to cause any stress on the electrical system or anything like that. So that's the way I did it for now. They're going to run all the time. And basically, I've got these so that they will come on as soon as the ignition comes on. So whenever the ignition's on, the fans will be on. But when I get a chance, after my life settles down just a little bit, what I'm going to do is in the ground circuit of these, I'm going to put a little temperature switch so that, they come on at 180 degrees and go off at 165 or whatever I can find. And that'll be just a little bit slicker. And another thing, actually, for future, I've kind of got it figured out that I want to be able to turn the fans on and leave them on while the car is not running, just to cool the coolant in the radiator, and then eventually I'll get an electric water pump and I'll be able to run the water pump and the fans and cool it right down, say in between runs or whatever I want to do. The only thing with that grand plan is you watch how many times I'm going to kill the battery doing that, but I guess we'll see. Well, it's certainly not going to be quite a direct bolt in. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm just going to have to drill a couple of holes to mount it with the stock bolt locations. Now I know this is backwards compared to stock for anybody that's used to stock Mopar stuff, but honestly, it is so close and it's going to fit in there so nice. I was a little concerned with room for the electric fans, but because of the fact that they're on the sides, I'm confident that that's going to be no problem at all, and this stuff's going to fit in there just beautifully. So it looks like Sharpie mark there, Sharpie mark, where is it? Right there. I'm gonna drill 2 holes, and this thing should bolt in. It should be good. I may have to do something different on the bottom attachment points, but I do think it's going to be okay the way it is. I guess we'll see once we get this top in. Once we get the top in, it'll be set in place where it wants to live, and we'll just sort out the bottom fasteners from there. So there we go. That was pretty quick and dirty. I ended up having to slot this hole because I drilled it wrong. I gotta say, the aluminum they use on these things is tough as whale shit. It must be really good strong stuff because it don't drill super easy for aluminum. Down here you can kind of see that's where the factory slot where I thought it was going to roll up to, it actually doesn't. So all I did is, this is the factory fastener position, and I just used a big fender washer on there, and it's going to hold it just fine. Same sort of thing on the other side, but you can't see it worth crap, so I'm probably not going to show you that. So hopefully the wind isn't too bad, but this is the fan shroud, obviously, and these are the electric fans that come with the kit. Now, the nutserts and everything are already on there, and these fit really nice. Like these little mounting ears come out. You just got to set them in the right spot. So, I mean, I guess you could clock the fan somewhat, but this kind of the way it makes sense to me. I think I actually might move this so that the wires go to the top, just because this rig is going to have to come out if a feller ever wants to do anything, pull the radiator or anything like that. So that might just make it easier to do the connections on this. Now, one thing I wish there was some pigtails to connect to these, but there wasn't, at least not in the kit that I got. That would have made wiring these up a hell of a lot nicer. But you know what? All totaled, everything here, I'm actually really impressed with this. So that's a good looking, seemingly fairly high quality appearing piece of kit right there. I'm tell you this, it weren't cheap, but if it works as good as it looks, I'll be a happy feller. Well, those fit beautifully. You can see when I move the wiring out of the way, there's tons of room there, and yeah, that's pretty much freaking lovely. Now all I got to do is tidy up these wires going across here and connect them to these wires I ran previously, and we should be able to give this thing a fire. Overall, I would give this thing like a 10 out of 10, except for the fact that where these bolt on, number one, they provided no fasteners, which is not a big deal for me because I got all sorts of crap around. But number two, for 4 more nutserts like they used here, she would have been a 10 out of 10 installation for me. Because I don't, like, I had to drill those couple holes, but I don't expect that to fit the 7 million different Mopar cars that use the 26-inch radiator. I have no problem with that part of it. But yeah, overall, I mean, not quite done. But this has been an amazing, super easy, super nice installation. I guess the only other negative to it, and again, it's probably just because I got to try and fit so many different applications. This is the overflow, and my overflow lives right here. So they'll have to be a little bit of a loop and a longer chunk of hose on my overflow, which, you know what, that is no big deal either. I'm okay with that. I'm super happy with this thing. Like I said before, if it cools as good as it looks, man, that's awesome. I guess one more thing that I identified when I went to put my my overflow jug back on, I'm gonna have to nip this corner off to allow my overflow jug to sit back in there where it was before. Still not a big deal. Had I thought about it and known about it ahead of time, I would have done that before I put it in here, but I'll still be able to make it look like something. Should be no problem. Overflow jug's in there, looking pretty much like stock. It is actually hitting a little bit here, but you know what, I don't care. And it's kind of a ugly old thing anyway. Maybe whenever I get a chance, I'll get a nice nice spun aluminum piece or something to match the radiator, but nothing's looking too stock in here anymore, so it doesn't really matter if it doesn't match or if it's not numbers original. I don't really give a crap about things like that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It looks good. She's holding water now, and all there is left to do is test it out. Well, after I finally got to go for a test drive, I was super happy with the way things went with the cold case radiator. With no thermostat in there at all, no restriction, no nothing. It runs about 180 at around town. Like I drove around, just cruised around town for probably 40 minutes, and it never got above 180. Whereas before it would have been about 210. And when I get to the highway, I hop on the highway, and it maintains that 180, 185. If not, it sometimes drops just down a little bit lower. So all in all, the cold case radiator is a win all the way around. I will say part of the improvement that I saw with the heating was to do with my timing as well. It was retarded more than it should have been, and it was creating some heat. But regardless to that, if you're considering a cold case radiator, especially this MOP 750 AK radiator that I bought from Summit Racing, I would highly recommend this unit. The electric fans and shroud that come with it are really nice stuff. So go ahead, do it if you can afford to. I'm a big fan. Some people tell me that they're not 100% sure about aluminum radiators and how well they cool. I don't have necessarily a direct comparison because I wrecked my brass rad before I was able to really know what it was going to do on this engine. But either way, I'm happy with it. Cold case radiator for the win. Thanks for watching.